Craven does the same for the national newspaper, which very definitely does. Alex, to you first. You've been writing columns fairly prolifically over the last few weeks, suggesting Nicola Sturgeons about to step down, perhaps by next summer. She's in here about the mandate for the next 5 years. We have to take her at her word, I guess, on that until that demonstrably changes. Let's move on. Shona, in the uncut interview, which I watched in its entirety this afternoon, Nicola Sturgeon became a little bit tetchy when Laura Kuenssberg tried to push her on the time frame for independence. She was very clear on it. She said, COVID permitting, next year we'll take the legislative steps to enable a referendum to happen. And she wants it to happen before the end of 2023. But there's a lot of airspace between what those words mean and people actually walking out to polling stations, isn't there?
Well, and the shadow or the spectre of the Section 30 denial, because she maintains she's going to ask the Prime Minister, to give the go-ahead for IndyRef 2, and it's widely understood if indeed Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister, or whoever might be succeeding him sooner rather than later, will deny that. And then the question is, well, what's this plan B? What are you going to do if that happens? What are all the legal obstacles that might then be in your way, and how long will that take? Now, we don't know the answer to that, so she can't sort of give answers until that has happened, until there have been those consequences. She's saying it's her intention to have the vote before the end of 2023, but she's not a fortune teller. She can't say exactly how these various steps are going to play out.
Is there a fire in her belly for this referendum?
Right at this very second, I think still her focus is on the pandemic. Just this week we were expecting to see more restrictive measures. We've not, but clearly we're still at a critical phase. And also Nicola Sturgeon is very conscious that not everyone in Scotland clearly is full square behind independence. And so if she is seen to be focused entirely on that, or that's where her passion is right at this minute, those people may say, well, hang on a minute, can we not get past this? And then we will listen to these arguments in favour or otherwise of independence.
So she puts legislation in place, which at the time being will be something happening, which is enough to perhaps satisfy the more impatient wings of her party.
Yeah, I mean, some people probably...
And she only moves on it when the polls shift, right?
Some people probably want her to set a date for, tabling the bill, etc. But I can see why she's not minded to do that, because the minute she says, oh, I'm going to table this on whatever of January, if that slips, then she'll get pelters for it. But I don't think she's trying to just postpone this, till next summer where she can retire or something. I mean, I think that's fanciful. She obviously does want to progress with this, but she can't give dates for all these steps because there's a lot of unknowns.
Alex Massey, in another offcut, which we showed at the very top of the programme, she fixed Laura Kuenssberg in the eye and said, read my lips, yes, I am going to push for another independence referendum. Do you, Shona Craven, do you think, I mean, that prospectus will come out, that will give people something to read, something to actually make their minds up on, something tangible. Do you think that could shift the dial, push it to well over 50%, enough to give her the courage of her convictions and push the button on it?
Well, of course, making a fresh case based on fresh circumstances, based on how massively the whole world has changed and people's priorities have changed. Unlike Alec, I haven't had the privilege of speaking to every single person at Holyrood, so I don't know how they believe. It also sounds like he wants a referendum on whether we should have a referendum. Again, I've not spoken to the whole of Scotland and find out how they feel. I think a lot of people who don't want to see independence actually probably want to have another referendum, put it to bed. If they're so confident that this case is going to be fraudulent, is going to fall apart, it's going to not stand up to scrutiny.
They haven't spent any money on it yet, according to an FOI request that went in recently.
Well, I do think it's a bit unrealistic to suggest that no one within the SNP or Scottish Government has been working on the answers to some of the questions that tripped up Alex Salmond back in 2014. I don't think that they're just going to be writing that on the back of an envelope and it's going to just instantly dissolve. I think it's going to prompt a lot of discussion. And as I say, I don't think it's fair to say that Scotland isn't consenting to have a referendum. A lot of people want actually to move past this question and get it settled one way or the other.
I'm going to ask each of you two questions and I want you both to answer them with one word. In 5 years' time, will Nicola Sturgeon be seeing out this current term still? Will she be there as she says she is going to be?
Less than 5, because the term's already started.
So 5 years in from last May. Yes. Will we have had a referendum by then?
Yes.
Alex Massey, will she still be there in 4.5 years and will we have had a referendum?